Boa tarde, mundo, from our house in Mortágua, central Portugal today. It is a lovely day. We are out in the garden, sun is shining, and we are just enjoying being outside. This is actually the first time we've been outside today, and it is 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We are catching our vitamin D intake. Jay's over there. Story's actually in her cot in her nursery room. She's having her afternoon nap. But Eden is out here with us. The bone has made it out as well. We are at home again, as I think we've mentioned before in previous vlog. We need to save money for our England trip. So we are staying close to home. We spent a lot with our last trip when my mum was here, so we're just trying to replenish some funds from that. The thing with Jay and I though is that we do actually enjoy being at home and we enjoy being together. So the longer we spend in a comfortable home environment, the less we want to go out. And I feel like we've got to that stage now. We were going to go to a cafe near a little lake nearby today to get a coffee. And then I was like, well, we've got coffee here and the sun's shining in the garden, why don't we just sit outside? So that is what we are doing instead. But we are close to becoming hermits, I fear. Close to hermit territory, aren't we?
Yeah, not far off. In an ideal world, it would be nice to have the option to be able to go as far and as wide as we want to whenever we want. When we decide to stay at home and relax, we're doing it by choice rather than because we need to save money or whatever. And I think that way we can keep the balance nice. We don't get too comfortable and we don't get too sick of home at the same time. And there's a nice balance in our life. That's what I'd like. To further explain what's happened recently, we had quite a few big jobs coming from clients and we earned a chunk of money, and then all of our guests came pretty much at the same time, and then we went here, there and everywhere, all in one big bulk go. It was go, go, go for about 2 months, and then it was like, money's gone. So it's kind of one extreme to the other, and it would be nice for it to be a slightly more gradual dip between, you know, the exhilaration of seeing new things and the comfort of being at home. And it is a little bit scary at times as well, isn't it? When you're not relying on a regular income. It's like anybody that's run a business knows that sometimes you have good months and bad.
Especially when we've got 2 dependents. It can feel a little bit uncomfortable at times, but we have never gone without food so far, so may it continue.
When we first started vlogging, we never ever used to talk about our work, like our jobs and our business that we run in the background. We didn't think it was relevant to what we were showing in the videos. And I think some people that were watching got under the impression that we were just on this everlasting fund and we could continue traveling with no work, and they never saw what we were doing behind the scenes. And it was a bit uncomfortable reading the comments and stuff, and people thought that we were being funded by our parents and stuff like that, which isn't the case. So we started giving more information, sharing more of our life and talking more about what we actually do and how we've made this life possible. As I've mentioned before, and I've said to loads of people that have emailed us and stuff, you do have to take and make a lot of sacrifices to start a life like this.
I replied to an email that we got basically saying that same thing, that a lot of our friends would be shocked to take such a pay cut like we have done. Since we've left our 9-to-5 normal jobs in London, we have the least amount of debt now than we've ever had, yet we earn the least amount by doing this. But by lowering our cost of living and making different choices, we've kind of carved out this life without working for somebody else. And yes, we earn less money, but it is more rewarding in so many more ways. And it might sound incredibly cliched and cheesy, but we are wealthier and we feel like we're richer with life experiences than we were doing our going to work and coming back home just to pay the bills. I wouldn't change what we've built so far, but we have made a lot of mistakes along the way in our last 5 years of leaving England and living in Thailand and now Portugal. It took us 2 years to even find out about vlogging, and if we knew what we knew now back then we probably would have been to our end goal a lot quicker, maybe even be there by now. But right now we're still working towards a lot of things to be where we want to be.
We got a message from one of our patrons a couple of weeks back, and she said to us that she went back and watched some of our Thailand videos from almost 5 years ago, and our channel was much smaller then, and she feels like we haven't changed who we are at the core, even though we were in a completely different country, different situation, different financial situation. From then until now, even though our channel has grown by like 300%, she feels like we appear to be the same people, and we think that too.
Yeah.
We feel like we haven't changed, but to have somebody tell us confirms that, and that's a nice thing, and it makes us feel like if we grow further and get into even more, I don't know, comfortable position financially in the future, we will still be those people from the core, which makes me happy.
People from the core. It's like a song. I think that too, totally, that even if our channel grows another 300%, we'll still be us. And I don't think there will be much of a change in the videos, because I think the reason for that is that to do this kind of life, you do have to be strong and you have to know yourself, because you do come up against quite a lot of resistance and you feel like you have to justify yourself a lot or explain your reasons more than a normal person in a normal job would.
I think it comes down to the understanding of this type of living. It's not very common. When people see us living the life the way that we do, questions pop up in their head. How are they paying for it? How are they doing it? I want to know that information too. But until you actually take the steps to be in this situation, our answers won't make sense to you. I've spoken to some people before who have asked us how much we earn, and I tell them and they say, oh, I couldn't live on that. Well, I'm like, well, we are. Yeah. And the only reason they can't live on it is because they're living in a much more expensive house, expensive country.
Because they don't want to give up their comforts and what they know.
Those things are more important to them than the things that are important to us. So our answers make no sense to them, and you feel like you have to justify it, and it can be difficult, and you do have to be strong, as you said.
Keeping your mind set on your end goal, that's a main thing as well, that you have to know what you're doing. If you're trying to do this and you're kind of all over the place and you're admittingly, I don't know what I'm doing, how do I do this? Then you're not, it's not going to work. You are going to change because you're going to adapt and mould to what you're trying to become. Whereas we've had an end goal in mind from the start, so we haven't had to change that much.
Does that
make sense?
It does, but I do feel like we did start that way. We started out not knowing what we were doing, which is why it took us a lot longer to get to a more comfortable position like where we are, I feel, today. We felt like we weren't in a position to have a baby until we were on track in our minds. And when that happened, when we made that decision, it was because we were at that point. To wrap up that information into one main point is that it's not easy. No. It's difficult and it requires a lot of sacrifices. But it's very rewarding.
It is. We've got Story's baby monitor out here so we can hear when she wakes up. She's still asleep though, isn't she?
Yeah, her eyes are closed. It's just difficult to see it in the sunlight. It's a bit of a cheap monitor, this one.
It wasn't cheap.
It was.
No.
Yeah, it was like £30. You can spend over £300 on these things.
Oh. Was it one of my eBay purchases?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, somebody was selling it as a buy it now, half price.
Yeah, I think it was about £60 in the shops, maybe a little bit more. And we got it on eBay for about 30. We just heard Story on the monitor starting to wake up, so we are going to head back in now. We've actually been out here about 45 minutes, so Story's had a good nap. Pick up all Eden's toys that she left out here. Muffin made it out as well. This bone, and one more. See Eden.
Is it dead?
Oh, yeah, nice and warm. Nice and warm from your nap. Hi.
You look so dozy.
Yeah.
Is it playtime?
Do you want to read a book about the weather?
Eden's looking on from her throne position.
The sunshine. Look, it says sun, rain. There's a cloud of raindrops coming out of it. Story has actually been playing nicely on the mat for almost 1 hour just with her little books, but I'm going to give her dinner now. Story's dinner today, she's got carrot, potato, kidney beans and green beans. Ready for your veg, Story? Yeah? Good girl.
Story's finished her dinner. Now she's waiting for us to be finished so we can go for a walk. But the lady is doing some deadheading. You're going to bring these back to life?
I'm going to try, yeah. I'm going to attempt to.
We are rubbish at flowers, aren't we? You're looking quite laid back in there, Story. How you feeling? Ready to go out in the big girl chair? Looks like you're ready too. Just waiting for Mum. It's a good temperature out here. Eden doesn't seem too hot. The concrete feels nice. Checked it to see if it was too warm.
See the house from here.
Can we? Never looked through this angle before. That's where we live. Right there. We're only doing the short walk today. Want to get Story back into the house so she can have her pear dessert. Everything's still on time, everything's still on schedule. Otherwise we'll have a grumpy baby.
Story is now asleep. Eden has had her dinner and I have cooked us a chickpea curry for our dinner.
I actually completely forgot about the vlog. I would have let the day go by.
Yeah.
I think you remembered.
The curry is actually done, but I'm just waiting for the rice to finish cooking. Some turmeric brown rice in there. I finished deadheading all of the plants and I'll give them a good water once the sun's gone in. I'm interested to see what happens and if they can be saved. Just getting a last little bit of sun before we go in and shut the doors up for dinner time. And I was thinking about our little ramble that we've done this afternoon. It's difficult for us to know what to share and what to talk about when we are just having home days, because it is just everyday general life for us here. So we talk to you guys what we're talking to each other about. When we talk about stuff like that, it's in a way for us to keep a record of what we were doing at the time. If we ever look back in years to come and we can see our progression and our path through these videos, and it gives us a reason to really talk about stuff and think about things in a more in-depth manner. These videos are not always going to be travelling and running around and skipping around here, there and everywhere and having loads of fun, because that's not what real life is about. And we have to keep these vlogs as real as we can. And we're not a reality TV show or anything like that. So what we're experiencing is what you are experiencing as well, if that makes sense. And also I think it's good to show people that may want to follow in our footsteps and try this as a job or do a similar move that we have done. It shows that it's not all roses, it's not always easy, and it can be challenging and scary. That, I guess, is the point of today's video, to show the normal everyday life. Have you come to do your phrase of the day?
Yeah, I'm going to try. I've only learnt this one this morning.
Okay, go on then.
As vige veste um vestido vermelho.
I got the end bit,
Yeah.
red dress.
Yeah, it means sometimes she wears a red dress. I think I'm going to have to do this with my eyes closed. Too bright. There are a couple more behind the scenes videos on our other channel. If you want to see how to check that out, you can click here. And by doing so, it helps to support our channel. So hit the thumbs up button and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye. Bye. Do you think you've saved them?
I think I possibly may have, yeah.
Will we have Flores Benitez again? We'll soon know.